Hello to you and welcome, my fellow Gooners, to Arsenal TV. This is a special tonight's edition of the Gooner podcast. I am with a special guest tonight, which is Gundit News, all the way from Arsenal Fan Circle. How you doing, Gundit?
I'm doing fantastic, bro. Shout out to everybody tuning in live and catching our reruns. It's an honor to be on Arsenal TV.
Yeah, you're the first guest for a while because I haven't done a podcast show for a while. But I thought, do you know what? As it's the international break, I thought, why not?
Well, I really feel special and I really do appreciate it, bro.
That's cool, mate. You're welcome anytime to come on. Okay, guys, for the people that he's going to be passing by during tonight, please make sure if you are new to the channel, please make sure that you are hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button, and also leave your comments below as well. Okay, so Gundit, the first thing that I would like to talk about is the thoughts on our first 11 games so far. I'll run through them and then I'll get your thoughts on it as well. So the first game that we played of the season was against Newcastle away, and we picked up a 1-0 win. The second game was against Burnley, and we won 2-1 at home. The next game was, well, this was the back-to-back, actually. The first game was against Liverpool at Anfield, and we lost the game 3-1. Then the next game was the North London derby, which was the Tottenham and Arsenal at home, and we drew 2-2. The next game was Watford, and we picked up a point there as well, 2-2. And then we had a Europa League game, which was against Frankfurt, and we won 3-0 away from home. And then the next Premier League game was Aston Villa, and we won that game 3-2, luckily. And then the next game was a Nottingham Forest game in the Carabao Cup, and we won that 5-0. And then the next Premier League game was United. We drew that 1-1. Then it was a Europa League game at home, which was against Standard Liège, and we won 4-0. And the last time out, which we got a win 1-0 against Bournemouth. So Mahir, what's your thoughts on the last 11 games that we've played?
Okay. Basically, I haven't seen enough of a performance, like a proper performance from the guys. I mean, for instance, Newcastle, yes, we did get 3 points there, but scrappy and like by any means necessary, the one who wins. Which, I mean, you can't complain about 3 points. Let's see, let's go. So that's the first and second game. North London derby, we really honestly should have won. Like I was really heartbroken, disappointed, pissed off, basically. Pardon my language. I mean, even with the likes of who's it, Liverpool. I mean, European champions. If you don't set up properly, or if you don't have the correct players in your squad or the correct formation, I see Emery's using three defensive midfielders a lot of the times when we do need to pick up 3 points instead of going all gung-ho. He's setting up very defensive-minded. I mean, Richard, as you do know, it has come out that Xhaka has said we are scared, or Emery's implied that we are scared. I mean, it's a terrible mindset to have, to be honest with you. But the Europa League wins, beautiful, beautiful. The youngsters are showing just that passion and that heart for the badge that, I mean, they've even been featured in some Premier League games, but I'm not convinced yet in the Premier League with regards to a proper performance where everybody is giving their all. Because, I mean, Emery's formations and his tactics and his ruthlessness, I think he's lost his touch a little bit. So, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Well, do you know what? I mean, at the moment, I think the best thing that we can look at is that we're third in the Premier League table at the moment, 1 point behind City, and we're in our second international break 2 months before Christmas. Now, if anyone told us that we'll be sitting third and we've only lost one game, I think we would have took your hand off for it. Seriously, I think we would, because I don't think we would be in the position that we are now. Because if you think about, a lot of the time we've lost Holding, we've lost Bellerin, now we've lost Lacazette as well, which hopefully they're all should be back as well. But I think that the games against Newcastle, we wasn't playing that great anyway. But we grinded out for that 1-0 win. Against Burnley, I think we was just lucky to get a win. I think we were lucky to get a win because if you notice, a lot of time with Burnley, they was playing balls over the top of us and we didn't know how to react to it. So that game, we was lucky. Liverpool, I think that's the same old, really. Because I can understand why Unai Emery was playing with 3 defensive midfielders against Liverpool. I can understand that because they got such a great attack, and they are very good in midfield as well and defense. So I can understand why he was a bit cautious against Liverpool. But against Tottenham, why are you showing too much respect against Tottenham? You're at home.
Of all teams, Richard, against our worst rivals. We don't even name them their names, actually. We put up normally a poop emoji, when we're playing it. Like, why are you going to a game like that where a team is so vulnerable, you can see them slipping? I mean, the same thing happened with with Banta FC, as I call them. We really honestly should have taken advantage. We should have taken full advantage. Go gung ho. And even if we did manage to lose and not pick up any points, we would have been like, the guys gave it their all. We saw everything they can possibly throw at United. But unfortunately, but I mean,
there was do you know what? There was another game amongst those 11 that really annoyed me the most as well, and that was a Watford game. We was 2-0 up at half time. I want to know exactly what Unai Emery said at half time, because it's like as if it was 2 different teams coming out in terms of us. It's like as if they thought, well, we're 2-0 up. There's no point in going for that third. We might as well just sit back. So if you look at the European matches, which is against Frankfurt and Standard Liège, where we won those games, where we won quite comfortably, and then you look at the Nottingham Forest game, 5-0. I know people will say, yes, it's Nottingham Forest, but they ain't no mugs. Let's put it bluntly, they weren't no mugs. At that point, even at that point when we was coming up against Nottingham Forest, they was, I believe, 1 game away for going top of their league. So they were pretty decent. But do you think that out of those cup games, do you think Freddie Ljungberg has got a lot of input to those games?
Do you know what? Personally, I love the fact that Ljungberg is trying to implement more options for our coach. I mean, he's obviously seeing the potential in these youngsters that they're willing to give their everything, unlike some people who shall not be named, who feel it obligated for a first team spot. The likes of Granit Xhaka, I'll name him. Granit Xhaka feels obligated. I know he's the captain, but Richard, I'm sure we've discussed this before, where you can be a captain and be on the bench and be leading. Where do you have to be on the pitch? You can be leading from the bench as well. I mean,
of course you can. Look, as I said, even if you're captain or not, your position should not be guaranteed. And in the way that to be honest, I know people have criticised Granit Xhaka, but we all know that he's too slow for the Premier League. His pace is way off compared to everybody else. And then if you look at the Man United game, for instance, he actually had quite a decent game against Man United.
No doubt about that. But I just feel that there's a better midfield trio or midfield pivot with like, for example, I would have loved to see Joe Willock and Ceballos and Torreira, the 3 of them, rather than going a bit too defensive-minded, maybe being scared, which is the wrong mentality to have. And I mean, especially to say it out loud, that the Watford game, I'm sorry, Richard, pissed me off. It pissed me off because it's a weak mentality to think, okay, we've got 2 goals. We can sit back. We can play. We can park the bus. Why don't you go for the throat? Go for a third goal. Go for a fourth goal, like you said. Then it's
Yeah.
definitely settled. Then bring on whoever you want. You know?
Yeah. Well, overall, out of those 11 games, out of 10, how would you rate the performance so far?
I would probably give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I would as well, because if you look at it, we've only lost one game, and that was against Liverpool. Apart from that,
And that
we've either drew or we've won. Okay, so
to the European.
yeah, okay, yeah. So the next thing that I want to talk about is Unai Emery. Is he the right man for the job? I don't know. Now I heard today there was something that's been going around that apparently Unai Emery has actually got a 3-year contract deal with the option. Now I don't know how true that is, but apparently he signed a 3-year contract deal. Now I don't know. I think that it's very evident that his main objective this season has to be to get us Champions League football. That is his ultimate objective. And Raul Sanelli even came out and said that that is what his expectation is for us to get Champions League next season. Now, Gundit, do you think, in your opinion, that Unai Emery is still the right man to take us forward? And maybe if he gets us that Champions League position and gets us in it, do you think he would get us far in the Champions League or not? Or do you think that we probably might need to bring in someone else?
Look, the first year we gave him basically a free year, right? To
Yeah.
try and implement and find his best system of his best form of coaching, the best way of improving the players, of bringing in youngsters and everything. So basically, that was a free year. Now, during the second year, we can look at it in 2 ways. We can, as fans, want top 4 and get into the Champions League. But the question is, are they going to back him enough to give him more personnel to be competing in the Champions League? Or is it just going to be we get into the Champions League for the money, maybe to attract more players, but end up being, because of lack of personnel, basically, knocked out before the group stages. Like unfortunately, that's been happening to us. Like even unluckily, we've been getting Bayern Munich, Barcelona, the really really top teams, and getting thrashed basically. So, do we give him more time, or do we get rid of him maybe and get another coach and go back to square one, basically erasing everything on the blackboard and starting afresh? Because, say for instance, we do get Allegri, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, so with
Say we
everything
do get Allegri.
Yeah. So do you think that with everything that's been going on, do you reckon that the fans need to give him a chance, need to give him time because of the process that we are in right now?
Of course. Of course. I actually believe, if you're asking me if Unai Emery is the right man, I believe if you give him time, if you give him a little bit more backing, a little bit more support, because a lot of people are already fed up with him and he's lost his touch of ruthlessness, maybe, as per se, with substitutions being really late. I don't know if you noticed, 60th minute, 70th minute, there's normally 1 or 2 substitutions. And normally you do this really early. Like, I honestly believe if you give him a little bit of time, he could be the guy.
Yeah, because I mean, I know the fan base is very divided at the minute. That they're saying there's Emery in, Emery out. Now, at the moment, for myself, I'm sort of in between because I'm thinking, why would we give a manager like Arsene Wenger, 22 years at the club, when there is fans out there that are saying that, okay, we'll give Unai Emery till the end of the season and then he has to go. Do you not think that's, to me, I don't think that's fair.
I really also don't think it's fair, to be honest with you.
The only thing what annoys me with Unai Emery at the moment, it's his team selection. That is what's annoying me the most. When you've got teams the likes of Tottenham, Burnley, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, those sort of teams, we need someone that's got that creativity, and we haven't. I know Mesut Ozil has been lifted out of the squad for quite some time now, and he's only had one or two games?
Yeah, one or two games.
Now, for me, in that sort of, I think that Unai Emery is handling the situation wrong for Mesut Ozil. Now, I haven't been one of Mesut Ozil's biggest fans. I love Mesut Ozil. I loved him when he was at Real Madrid and what he's done for us so far. But I can understand why Unai Emery has not picked him, because he's not working hard 24/7 in training, which you need to. You need to fight for your position. And Mesut Ozil is clearly not doing that. But I just think that what Unai Emery needs to do, he needs to have Mesut Ozil at least on the bench. At least on the bench. Because out of because if you look at the amount of games that we've played, he's been out of the squad completely, not even on the bench.
Completely.
See, if you've got Danny Ceballos or Willock that's playing in that number 10 role, who have you got to bring on the bench if they can't open the doors? If they can't unlock the defense, who have you got on the bench if Mesut Ozil is not there?
There's really nobody. And Richard, you're 100% right. I 100% agree with you, because it's really I've also been one of Ozil's biggest critics, if you could per se, because like the way I see it, he's been with us now about 6 seasons, I would say, 5 or 6 seasons, if not more, and he's really, to be honest with you, in my personal opinion, he's had like one really good season where he was like the king of assists, and then after that, I mean, like, right now, it's really unfair that he's not even featured on the bench, because, like you say, when you need creativity, Ceballos is not doing it, Willock's not doing it. At least have Ozil on. Imagine what an impact he would have made versus Banta FC. Imagine.
That's exactly what I was thinking as well, because I think that the amount of games that we've played and we've lacked that creativity, I just think that Mesut Ozil would have been ideal to play. I know that he is not putting the effort in training, but at least be on the bench if we need him during that last, say, 15, 20 minutes of a game. But another thing,
why not give it a shot?
Yeah, why not? Maher, I just want to ask you one question. What has impressed you with Unai Emery, and what hasn't impressed you?
Okay, what hasn't impressed me of recent is really late substitutions, wrong lineups, wrong personnel, and what has impressed me was, I think when he just started off, the ruthlessness that he had, where even if halftime somebody's not working out, they're not giving their all, he can just take them on him immediately. As soon as the whistle, before the second half whistle goes, he's already made 2 substitutions. He's taking off, for example, somebody in midfield that's not working, and he's putting on a Ramsey, who I think, honestly, we really miss in times like now.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's the main thing that's bothered me about Unai Emery as well, is obviously his team selection, where you would thought you needed someone to be the creative person, but he's gone with 3 defensive midfielders. This is what because if you look at Guendouzi and then you look at Lucas Torreira, they play very, very similar. They're in that same similar position.
Exactly.
But then you've got Granit
similar.
Xhaka. You've got Granit Xhaka, who for me he's not a defensive midfielder. He isn't. He's more of that free role sort of play. Like he's more of like he can drop back when he wants, he can go forward when he wants. And sometimes I don't even see him as a central midfielder either.
You see, Richard, that's just the thing. Do we really know what Xhaka does? Like, what does he do? Really, if you actually think about it, because I think I discussed with a few other Gooners also. We just had like a 5-minute discussion or a 10-minute discussion that ended up full blown because we were trying to think, what does he actually do? If he's not a defensive midfielder, if he's not a attacking midfielder, like what is his specialities? Like, how do we utilize Xhaka?
I don't know. This is something that Unai Emery needs to work out because Granit Xhaka has clearly got something on him. Is why that Granit Xhaka keeps playing every week. Even when he's been playing poor, I've even said bring on someone else. Because that particular game where he wasn't playing well, he should have been taken out on the bench. I'm not saying completely out of the team, but he should be at least on the bench when he hasn't played well. To say, look, if you don't play well, I am not afraid to drop you, even though you are captain.
Exactly. I wish Emery actually comes up or somehow somebody inceptions this idea into his head where you have to fight for your place. If you're not good enough, know that you can be dropped at any point, at any time.
Yeah. So far, at this point in the season, what rating would you give Unai Emery?
Probably a 5 out of 10 because we haven't seen. I mean, he doesn't know his best starting 11, doesn't know the correct formations, or I don't know. He's lost. To be honest with you, Richard, he's lost a bit of his touch, man. Like I want Emery from the start, where and like he's losing all of his. That's why there's so many people on Emery out because of that that exact reason.
Mahid, you know what? I was thinking about this the other day, and I was just thinking, do you not think that what's caused the problem where we was playing such great football at the start when you first came in until now, do you not think it's because of the injuries that we've had from then till now?
It could actually be that. And also lack of backing when it comes to transfers. Because if you know that Bellerin is our only right back, right? And I mean, like with our centre backs, for example, Rob Holding, Callum Chambers, and them are only coming back into the team now and recovering from very serious injuries, why would you go and just get a cheap stopgap that could possibly negate everything that we're doing? David Luiz, for example. Now it's happening with Socrates, where they're making one critical error that's leading to us conceding a goal, which leads to us dropping vital points against teams that honestly we should not be afraid of at all. We should be going for their necks. Man City went for Watford's neck 8-0. 8-0. It could have been 12.
Yeah, I completely agree. Right, we're going to go into the chat to see who's about. Okay, the first comment is Sanjay200, and he says, "Yo, hey." The next comment comes in from our brother, Cannon for the TV. And he says, "Hey, Richard, my brother here. Hello, Al." The next comment comes in from my mum and says, "Hi." The next comment comes in from Alex again, and he says, I would give the team and Unai Emery a 6 out of 10. And the last comment that's in here at the moment is my mum again, and she says that they should give him a chance, i.e. Unai Emery, give him a chance. Do you know what? I think we should give him a chance, because I think the reason, as I said, I think the reason why that Unai Emery hasn't been that great from now until, as we were last season, I think is because of the injuries. Like, we lost Bellerin against Chelsea. We lost Holding as well. But I think it was more or less the time when we lost Holding, I think, was the key part.
No, he was one of those vital players that we've been missing up until now. And luckily enough, hopefully the boys will be ready, for the next match.
Yeah. I hope so as well. I really do, because at the moment as I said, like, we're third in the Premier League at the moment. I mean, Man City have been dropping points. They have been dropping points, and I'm just thinking to myself, maybe if they drop their next points and we win, we could possibly go second. So I don't want to be too far ahead of myself, but that could possibly happen. I mean, any team could drop points, but it depends on. I know, but it also depends on what Arsenal turns up.
Exactly.
In every game.
Do we get
Another comment has come in, and it's Alex again. He says, Unai Emery, has not been able to use his best 11. I agree. I don't think he has been able to use his best 11, because, like, as I said, Holding was out, Bellerin was out. Then obviously we've had Lacazette recently out. That's why he's missed a couple of games. And obviously Aubameyang, he's been the player that's been getting us out of danger a lot of times, and he has. So do you I know there is talks about Aubameyang having a new contract. Now, Mahi, do you think that Aubameyang is the player that deserves the 350 grand a week?
Yes.
Dan Mizrazo.
Yes, he has been getting us out of jail every single game. Absolutely every single game. He scored at least one goal. Every single game. I mean, I think he fully deserves it. Fully deserves it, because I hope Emery will be able to get the backing to get other quality players to play alongside Oba. Get the best out of Pepe. I mean, seriously, Richard, Kieran Tierney. Whew, I can't wait till this guy is fully fit and on fire. I mean, I'm lost for words. I am lost for words.
Do you know what? I know that Mube, he mentioned about Kieran Tierney, and do you know what? Kieran Tierney is an absolute baller. I'm sorry, but but the only difference between him and Kolesnik is because if you look at the way Tierney, he knows when to drop back and he knows when to bomb forward. He's
crossing.
I know.
He's crossing.
He's crossing top notch.
I mean, it's so pinpoint. He will pick you out in the most extreme of circumstances, and like you say, he knows when to drop back, when to tackle, when not to tackle, when to just let the ball run out. I mean, we don't want to overhype him too much, but seriously, if he continues consistency within 1 or 2 years, I mean, this guy could be top, one of the top left backs in the world.
Yeah. Do you know what? I actually think that Kieran Tierney is actually captain material as well. I honestly do think he is. I think he's a leader of men. I really do. And I've noticed that every time that he's crossing the ball, he's pinning out a man every time.
Every single time.
His crossing is not like Kolesnik's, where like it's either going into the stands or he's knocking it too far over. Whereas Tierney, he knows when to cut it back like into the box, or he knows when to ping it over the top. And I'm so happy that we've got him.
Oh, you know, you don't understand the happiness that I also feel, because I'm sure our subscribers and I'm sure all the viewers watching also feel that exact same happiness. Someone who knows their duties, both attacking and defensive. Kolesnik, look, I had high praise for him. I really honestly wanted him to succeed. Same like Mkhitaryan. But I mean, it just, unfortunately, the pace, I mean, he came highly regarded from the Bundesliga as being in the German Bundesliga team of the year with the most assists or whatever. And it just hasn't proved. It just, it's, there's a massive difference between him and Tierney. And like I said, I can't wait to see this guy fully fit. I'm sure we're all looking forward to that moment where we can have that back four, the young back four.
Man, yeah. Do you know what? I think I actually can't wait, and I don't think it won't be long until that we will eventually see it. I don't think it won't be long at all. Another comment has come in, which is Cannon Fodder, which is Alex. Mahir, which players from part of your midfield? And Al, do you know what? We're going to get into that. That's the next one. So that's the next topic. So we're going to get into that right now. So Mahir, the next topic is the best starting 11 and formation going forward until the end of the season. I know that we've got January coming up, and I think Arsenal are going to be looking for potential players like another centre back. I think we'll probably go for. I'm hoping this time around we'll get a right back in as well. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, we need some defensive cover on the right hand side.
Yeah, definitely. Maya, I'm actually going to go to you first. Now, what is your best formation and starting 11 moving forward until the end of the season? And that's with everyone fit.
Okay. Right. Here we go, everybody. So my formation that I'm playing is going to be a 4-2-1-3. Right? So in the back line, my base starting 11 would be obviously Bernd Leno is number one, but Martinez is knocking on the door to be a very, very suitable deputy, a second keeper. In my back line, like I said to you, Richard, it's a young back line, very young, very exciting. Tierney on the left-hand side. In the middle, I'm going with Rob Holding and Callum Chambers. And on the right-hand side, I'm going with the model himself, Hector Bellerin, or Bellerin, as they say. Midfield pivot, double pivot of Lucas Torreira, playing in his natural position alongside Joe Willock and Danny Ceballos. Or, I mean, like we're saying, give Ozil a shot. I mean, it's pointless having a player of that quality, of 350,000 quality, just sitting, but he's not even on the bench. He's at home playing Fortnite or whatever. So, Ceballos, I hope he's going to succeed. I hope he stays with us. Ceballos or Ozil. In the front three, I'm going with Ober, Laka, and Pepe. And if not Pepe as an option, I would say give Martinelli a shot. I mean, Saka's there as well. Reece Nelson hasn't been on form as yet, coming very highly from Hoffenheim. So yeah, that's Rich. That's my base starting 11 and formation. Richard, up to you, bro.
Okay, my best starting formation. I'm actually going to go back to basics, what we started off with, and that's a 4-2-3-1. That's what I'm going with. The goalkeeper, I'm going to go with Bernd Leno for now, because I do think that Martinez, I think he has shown that he has good debutation as well. He knows when to kick it out, when not to kick it out. And I think that he's a player that's going to be definitely fighting Leno for that number one goalkeeping spot. So I'm going to go with Bernd Leno for now. My back four, I'm actually going to go with the same back four as you, which is Bellerin at the right back, Holding and Chambers, and Kieran Tierney at left back. My midfield pivot, I'm going to go with Lucas Torreira, and I want Lucas Torreira to sit back because at the moment he's bombing forward, and at times I've seen him getting forward more times than he's getting past Nicolas Pepe, and he just needs to stay back. Yeah, so Torreira needs to stay back. Alongside him, I'm tempted to go with Ceballos because I want to see Ceballos in his natural position in that number 8, in that box-to-box midfielder.
To be honest with you, sorry. To be honest.
Oh. And sorry, guys. My hair just went off just now. I think he had a loose connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go on, continue. What you
said. Sorry, I was just thinking now that you brought it up, right? Ceballos' natural position is actually next to somebody in a double pivot. Wow.
Yeah.
So you can actually play Ozil and Ceballos in the same team.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I really don't. So yeah, I would go with Torreira and Ceballos. In that 3, for me, Pepe would be out on the right. Pepe will definitely be out on the right for me. Out on that left wing. See, this is where I'd either go with Aubameyang or I would go with Martinelli. Because I think Martinelli is slowly knocking on the door to get a first team place. But I would actually go with on the left-hand side, as much as I would prefer him more central. Because I think that if you look at Aubameyang, when he's playing out on the wing, he does not look comfortable at all. And I've noticed when Unai Emery, he had more freedom and he looked a lot more comfortable. So I would actually stick with Aubameyang out on that left side. Up front as a leading striker, I would go with Lacazette. His hold-up play, being that false 9, and then to let Aubameyang and Pepe get in behind the defence, I think is perfect. Because if you look at the way Lacazette is, he can sometimes drop deep into the midfield position to retrieve that ball to let Aubameyang and Pepe to go. So I think that would be ideal to have him in that. I would give Mesut Ozil a chance. I really would. Because getting that wage is what he's getting, that 350 grand, he should be at least playing, or even on the bench. But in that number 10 role, I would actually go with Joe Willock. I would go with Willock. Now, I've noticed that with Joe Willock, that when he was playing for the under-23s, he started to add goals to his name. He started to add goals to his game. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, I want to see that if you can do that when you're in the first team, when you get your chance. And if you look at the games that he's played, he's been doing that in the cup games. He's been still adding goals to his name. So I'm hoping that he can do the same in the Premier League. And if he can, I reckon that he could make that number 10 position himself. I really do. So I would go back for my lineup. I'll go with Leno in goal. My back four is Bellerin, Holding, Chambers, Tierney. My midfield pivot is Torreira and Ceballos. And my front three, for the midfield for the attack is Pepe out on the right, Willock or Mesut Ozil in number 10, and I'll have Aubameyang out on the left, and then Lacazette up top. That would be mine. I think that would be the best 11 going forward.
100% agree with you.
Yeah,
I think that sounds so juicy. Like I would love to just see it happen in front of our eyes. You know, it's like right there, just boom. Yeah, that's what you guys wished for.
Yeah, true, very true. I'm just hoping it happens because I know that we've got the likes of William Saliba also coming back from St Etienne from his loan deal next season. So Emery's got a bit of a headache in selecting who's going to be his best starting 11. Do you know what? For what I've seen of Saliba at the moment, he looks an absolute world class player. He looks absolutely brilliant. Let's go into the chat for the moment. Alex has come in and he says, Richard and Maher, don't forget that William Saliba is yet to come in next season. And it's true, he's going to be coming into the Arsenal squad. I wouldn't bring him into the squad straight away. I wouldn't bring him in straight away. I would have him on the bench for now. That's what I would do personally because I think Holding should definitely be in that first team without a doubt because he's kept clean sheets as well. So I think he should definitely be in there. Callum Chambers, I don't think he's put a foot wrong at the moment. I think he's been top drawer at the moment, so I wouldn't take him out of the squad just yet. But yeah, William Saliba, as I said, for what I've seen of him, I think he's an absolute baller. He's a brilliant player. The last comment is coming, and it's from my partner, Bonnie. She put, hi guys, hope everyone is okay. Hi baby, yeah, we're fine, thank you. Okay, guys, for the people that are in the comments, thank you for coming in as always. Also, I would like to thank Maher for coming onto the channel tonight. So thank you very much, bro, for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, man, you're welcome. Guys, if you are new to the channel, please make sure you are smashing that subscribe button. Make sure that you are hitting that thumbs up button and hitting that notification bell as well. So yeah, Maher, if you would like to, say anything, be my guest.
Look, I feel it's an honor coming on the channel. And a shout out and love to all your subscribers, all the way from South Africa, all the way from yours truly. And like I say, guys, you hit the like and subscribe button. Come along to Arsenal Fan Circle with Ray and myself.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Like we're all one big family, and it makes me very happy that we respect everybody's opinions and that we get a lot of suggestions and we comment and interact with each other on every episode of every podcast that we do. And it's very much everybody watching all of our shows, giving us a lot of support.
Yeah, so you heard it, guys. Head over to Arsenal Fan Circle, definitely, because I will definitely put the channel in the comments when we come off air as well, so you can go over there and subscribe to Arsenal Fan Circle. You will see my hero over there, and you'll also see Ray, who is the main host of Arsenal Fan Circle. You will see me over there as well. So
yeah, you'll see Richard as well. Richard's part of us as well.
Okay, the last comment has come into the chats, and it's for you, Maher. It's from Alex. He says Saka or Martinelli.
Ooh, okay, that's actually an easy choice for me right now at the moment, even though they are both showing glimpses of just glimpses of everything: passion, heart, fight. I mean, for me personally, Martinelli. And yourself, Richard?
Yeah, I'd probably say Martinelli as well. Because for what I've seen of him, he's got that pace as well. And do you know what? He reminds me of Suarez as well. His work rate. He reminds me of Suarez. And some of the time, for what I've seen of his movement on the ball, his header that he scored as well, it reminds me so much of Ronaldo. And I'm just thinking, could we have picked up a nice gem here, and he could be the next Ronaldo in time.
Richard, you know what happened with me actually? When we first bought Martinelli and we first bought Saliba, right? I honestly had a rant about it because I thought to myself, why are we wasting money? We need young players, but they haven't had really any senior appearances. I haven't heard of Martinelli or Saliba ever. But look what they're doing right now. They are proving me and a lot of people wrong. Martinelli's pace, and I don't know if you noticed, he's all over the place. He's in the midfield. He's tracking back. He's all over. And his ability to take on a man, dribble, get past 2, 3 people, maybe take a shot. And these are not wild shots. These are shots on target that are going in. I mean, do you see some of the shots he was taking versus he could have easily had 4 goals to himself against Standard Liège, which was mad things happening.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, no problem.
As you know that Mesut Ozil could be on his way out in January, because apparently he's put up his house up for sale for £10 million, so he's just going up for sale. If you could pick 3 players to bring in, who would you bring in?
Can I push that question to you first, because I would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I reckon that we definitely need to bring in another number 10, because I don't see Ceballos as a number 10. I don't. So for me, if we was going to improve and bring in another number 10, for me, it has to be James Maddison for Leicester. Ooh. I would bring him in. I would bring in Maddison. I really would, because I think he's a fantastic player and he's got pace as well. And I reckon Maddison's the type of player that he will track back if needed. He will. So for me, I think for a number 10 position, I would bring in Maddison. For a centre-back, now I reckon that Arsenal should go in again for Samuel Umtiti. I reckon we should go in for him again. Another centre-back, I would go for Upamecano. And I personally think, I don't know if it has, but I honestly think that the Upamecano deal is actually done and it's waiting for January to open. The only reason why I say that, because before we got David Luiz, Arsenal were currently in talks with Upamecano for him to come to Arsenal. And I think that because of the time limit we had to get everything done, I actually just think that they thought, well, we've just lost. I actually think that they thought, well, we've just lost Lauren Koscielny. We're gonna have to get another centre back in to make up the numbers, and that's why I think that we brought in David Luiz. So I think David Luiz deal was just for now. I think it was just for now and not for the long term. That's what I think anyway. But that's another player that I would bring in. In terms of the right back, I would actually bring in Valerie for Southampton.
Southampton.
I would bring Valerie in, because I reckon that Valerie's he's gonna be in our price range. I reckon Valerie will be roughly about, I don't know, between 15 to 25 million pounds max, I reckon. So I think he would be a good shout to bring in, because Valerie can play at right back. He's young as well, and he can play as a right winger. He can play as a wing back as well. So we've got a variety. So if Emery did want to play with a back 3, at least he's got a right winger as well. And if Bellerin gets injured again, at least we've got someone who knows that position.
But that
would be mine.
You know, the fantastic thing about finding a player that's suitable for various, like, you can cover basically almost the whole back line. Or if you buy a midfielder that can cover the whole middle and possibly maybe on the wing, one of the wings. My players would be, if we're looking at a number 10 for Ozil, would be Kai Havertz from Bayer Leverkusen. I love your shout for James Maddison. Personally, I would love that to happen. Centre back also, I'm also going with Upamecano. I really pray that your intuition is correct and that it is just waiting. We're just waiting for January to happen. So who else can I think of? I think that's
Would you consider Longley for Barcelona?
Ooh, you know what? My younger brother, actually supports Barcelona. So it's made me, and I mean, all the years I've followed Barcelona as well. And these are young quality players. Longley, I
Mm,
would give it a shout for, because we're trying to rebuild something of a, almost like a revolution. Like having all these young, passionate players who just give their all every single game, in and out. Like, there's no tantrums thrown, there's no
yeah,
fights with the manager, throwing the toys out the pram, which we've had in the past. I mean, James Madison, Upamecano, um, Kai Havertz. These are all players that could possibly take us to the next level, basically.
yeah. Okay, we're just going to go into the chat one last time, and Alex has come in. Richard Pepe in the Europa League games to improve
Yeah.
confidence. Do you know what? I even said that. I think that would be a good idea, is to play Pepe in the Europa League games and play him as the main striker. Because at the moment, I just don't think that Unai Emery is playing him to his strength. So I don't see why not. Just to give him that bit of game time on his own, so he can adapt more. I think that would be an ideal. But if you look at it, did you see the Dennis Bergkamp interview with Ian Wright? Now, Dennis Bergkamp says that when you come into the Premier League, it normally takes about 6 months for a player to fully adapt. So this is why I keep saying to everyone who is putting Nicolas Pepe down, is that give him time. Give him time. He didn't put that £72 million price tag on himself.
Nope.
So we've got to give him time. And the last question comes in from Alex. And he says, and the last question for the both of you from me, which player has impressed you the most?
I think,
Alex,
are we
Alex,
are
if
we
you're
talking
still
about?
in my here, hold on a minute. Alex, if you're still in the chat, are you on about the young players or who has impressed us the most out of all of them?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, because if he's on about the young players, then I would probably say Joe Willock for me, if it's in terms of the academy players. But there is one player out of the young players that has impressed me, and that is Martinelli.
Yeah. Shocked me though, like proved me wrong. I mean, like I told you, I had a rant about it, and
Mm,
I've been totally proved wrong. Like, he's looking like I'm starting to love this, starting to really like, not love, but almost there. Because, like, just a heart, man. Richard, we've always wanted this. Last season we wanted this. I don't know why
yeah,
they didn't show up in the last two games. I mean, could have beaten Brighton and gone through to Champions League. Could have not capitulated to the other side of London that's actually blue.
yeah.
Badly. I mean, I don't know what changed in the mentality, but Martinelli, if we're talking about young players, if we're talking overall, with the people that are in our squad already, I would say, I don't know, I would say Oba. I mean, Oba's scoring goals for fun. I mean, really, he's proving to be. If we can have another 2-3 years of this, I would love it, personally.
Right. Okay. Alex has come back into the chat. He says the youngsters,
Oh, yeah.
and then he comes in again saying, "Or out of the whole signings."
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Let me think of the players that we've brought in. So we've brought in Kieran Tierney. We brought in William Saliba, which we haven't seen of him yet. Danny Ceballos. Who else is there? David Luiz.
Yeah.
Martinelli. Oh, do you know what? Out of the players we've brought in, the only players that we can say that we've seen play at the moment is Dani Ceballos, David Luiz, Kieran Tierney, and Martinelli. Really, out of those
Really?
5 players, it's just those 4. Out of those 4, I would actually say Martinelli's impressed me the most. I think. Because I saw we saw David Luiz when he was playing for Chelsea, and we saw the mistake that he had mistakes in him. Dani Ceballos, I think some of the time he's being played out of position, because he's been playing as at number 10, and I don't think he is a number 10. As I said, I see him as as that box to box midfielder, that number 8, like Aaron Ramsey was.
That's why we got him though, Richard. I think we got him for that specific reason though.
Yeah, I think so as well. But there is a bit of a U-turn at the moment. It's saying that, like, I know that Dani Ceballos came out and said that he has no regrets in leaving Madrid, and that was a couple of weeks ago. And then Dani Ceballos came out again, and he said that I'm not giving up on my Real Madrid dreams. So, which way do we go? If Dani Ceballos turns around and said, "Well, I'm going to stay in Madrid," then who are we going to bring in? Maybe this is where I think that Guendouzi will have to play alongside Torreira and not Xhaka.
And develop a proper partnership with Torreira, and then it could possibly work out really well.
Yeah, but I mean, out of the players that came in and what we've seen of, I'd have to say that Martinelli's impressed me, and do you know what? Yeah. So has Kieran Tierney, to be quite honest. So I'll say him as well. Mahi, who's impressed you out of the players?
Let's see. I would have to say, so if we're talking about youngsters, I would say Joe Willock has upped his game to the next level. I mean, he's improved massively. If we're talking about the youngsters, if we're talking out of the signings, so it's Kieran Tierney, William Saliba's not with us, but Kieran Tierney, Ceballos. We don't include David Luiz because we do know it's a stopgap. Martinelli. I would have to say Kieran Tierney from what I've seen. Although Martinelli is top of that list, it would have to be Kieran Tierney is in a very close contention for that top spot from what we've seen. And like we say, you and I both said, we just can't wait for the on form, like for them to start gelling and playing regularly together. I mean,
right, one more question is coming from Alex, and he says, any more players for the exit?
Oh, I love that one.
I could probably think of 3. I reckon there's 3 players that I reckon could be out. I would probably say my main 3 that I know.
Yeah,
Xhaka
man. I've also got. I think.
So no, I was gonna say for mine, I know that Xhaka is not gonna be one of the players that is gonna go, but I would like to see him go, because I just think he's definitely too slow for the Premier League. And if Arsenal did end up selling him, then I reckon we could get at least £35 million. I reckon. One of my other 2 players I can see going would be Mesut Ozil. I just think that Unai Emery has made up his mind that Mesut Ozil is not part of Unai Emery's plans in going forward. So I reckon Mesut Ozil could definitely be out the door, because I know Arsenal have said that they are willing to pay the 350 grand as well to make him leave. So they're willing to do that. Another player would be Mustafi. I think that Mustafi knows that he's going to be out the door, and I think that that's why Mustafi's he's just getting his head down. He's just getting on with it because he knows that he's not going to be in Unai Emery's plans either. So I reckon those would be the 3 that I would like to see go. Would be Xhaka, Mustafi, and Ozil. But if I'm being completely honest, I reckon it'll be Mkhitaryan, because he's clearly out on loan to Roma, so he's out. Mohamed El Neni, I think he'll definitely be gone. And I reckon that it'll be Mustafi as well. So yeah.
Yeah, man, Richard, I fully agree. I'm on the same boat, in the same boat with you. Mustafi, definitely not good enough. Apparently, I don't know if you saw, he's been rated the second worst centre back in the world, which is a bit confusing though. As much as we slate him and everything else, it's a bit confusing. Second worst in the world, you have to really be bad to get that title. Xhaka, well, to be honest with you, if I can, I will drive to England. I'll drive to where you guys are. I'll pick Xhaka up, drop him off at any club in the world on a free. And if I can recuperate any funds, if it's a £5 or a £10, uh, it will help. It will help for petrol or something. But honestly, not good enough. And like you say, Mkhitaryan should be out. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out for him. Al Neni, yes, he's the humble Egyptian, but unfortunately, it was a panic buy. Some of these were panic
Yeah.
buys. Xhaka was one of the big ones. I mean, if we can get money for him, like you said, he's 35. I wish he could have gotten sold to Atletico Madrid at that time or Inter Milan for about 40, which was the rumors, which means we would have gone out and gotten a quality, maybe like a James Madison, for example,
Yeah.
next to Torreira, and then have still a Ceballos around, still possibly get a Kai Havertz, have the youngsters, the young ballers showing their heart on the field,
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, that is the Gooner podcast for tonight. I'll just like to say thank you to My Here Gundit News for coming on tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure for having you on the channel. And hopefully I could invite you more onto the channel, because I don't want to make this channel just for my sake. I want to make it for the whole Arsenal fans as well. So that'll be a nice long way to go in the future. So that's what I want to do. But guys, if this is your first time to Arsenal TV, please make sure you are hitting that subscribe button, hitting that notification bell, hitting that thumbs up button, and making sure you are leaving your comments below. So guys, until the next video, we will see you lot soon. And up the Arsenal. We are out of here.